Hello, everyone. Welcome to our training. This is day one, session one of our 3-day online courses in the age of AI bootcamp. Today, we're going to talk about how to survive and thrive in an AI world, how to GPT-proof your course. If you're excited to be here, if you're energized for the next 90 minutes, drop the word excited into the chat. Wave your arms around if you're on camera so I can see you're here, you're energized, the chat is working, the video is working. We've just tested all the technology all in one shot. That is fantastic. All right, let's jump straight into it. So there's this great line from Ernest Hemingway's book, The Sun Also Rises, where the character Mike Campbell is asked the question, how did you go bankrupt? And he answers two ways, gradually and then suddenly. And that gradually and then suddenly, that's the story of change in general. Any change that we experience in our lives, it happens gradually and then suddenly. And that is true for the big change that we're here to talk about today, which is all about AI and ChatGPT. And there is a lot that we are going to cover. I'm going to give you a live walkthrough of how to create an online course with AI in under 10 minutes. We will talk about the critical limitations that most people don't really understand about popular AI technologies. We'll talk about the right way to use AI to speed up your course building and business growth. We'll also talk about the wrong way to apply AI in your business and the consequences if you do it that way. And we'll talk about the biggest impact of AI on the online courses industry, something that none of the commentary out there seems to understand. And this is part of a 3-day bootcamp. So we're going to pick this up again on Wednesday when we will talk about premium course design with ChatGPT and the hybrid design canvas. And then on Friday, we will talk about the playbook for marketing and selling courses in the age of AI. And this entire bootcamp together is about understanding how AI disrupts the online courses landscape and leveraging the tools and opportunities so that you can come out ahead. And I've also got something really, really big, a really big announcement that I'm going to share with you towards the end of today's session. And this is, I'm not exaggerating when I say that this is huge. So anyway, that's coming, but I don't want to spend time on it now. Right now, we have a lot to talk about because there is a ton happening in the world right now because of artificial intelligence technologies, including but not limited to ChatGPT, that seem to have come out of nowhere and are turning our industry upside down. And we're going to talk about that at length on this session. We'll talk about what it is exactly, how you should use it, what the opportunities are, what the risks are, whether you need to pay attention to it and what specifically you do, what you can safely ignore, and is this even for real? And I am assuming that if you are here, these are the sorts of questions that you would like to have answered. So if that's the case, put the word same into the chat. If this is the same sorts of questions as what you would like to have answered. And I see, all right, people say, yes, same, that's what I want to know, awesome. Now, I'm also going to make another assumption. I'm also going to assume that most of you are not here because you just want to geek out about how AI is the coolest thing since sliced bread. I mean, that might be a small part of it, but mostly what I'm assuming you care about isn't artificial intelligence per se, so much as how these new technologies help or get in the way of your ability to create real financial leverage in your business so that you can spend less of your time earning more money in a way that actually leads to freedom in your business and life. And with that freedom and leverage, the ability to create a lot of impact in your immediate circle of the world and maybe in the world as a whole. I know that especially for the people who tend to be attracted to my work, impact is a really important driver. Impact that you'll be able to have by virtue of the resources that a thriving online course business will create, and also impact by virtue of getting your hard-won knowledge and expertise to more of the people who really need it. If that's what you care about, put the word impact into the chat. You're like, yeah, I want to make money, I want to create freedom, but impact is important to me. Awesome, and this is why I feel so honored to be able to serve all of you through my business, through the work that I do. And if you're looking to create impact through online courses in a post-AI world, you're in the right place. That's what we're going to be talking about today and over the 3 days of this bootcamp. So let's dive right in. And we're going to start with what exactly is ChatGPT and why does it matter? And the story starts with an organization called OpenAI. And it was founded on December 11th, 2015, with $1 billion, that's billion with a B, $1 billion in cash from Silicon Valley investors like Sam Altman and Reid Hoffman and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and others. And they set to work to build a technology called GPT, which stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Now, what is a generative pre-trained transformer? It's essentially a statistical prediction model for the next right word and the next right word. Now, for most of us, GPT, generative pre-trained transformer, is computer speak, but so is statistical prediction model. It still doesn't make any sense. So let's equate this to something we understand in our lives. What is an example of a statistical prediction model that we've all seen? So an example would be autocomplete, right? Whether it's on a Google search, whether it's on your phone, autocomplete is a statistical prediction model for the next right word. But whereas most autocomplete technologies just add the next few words, maybe they give you options to choose, GPT is orders of magnitude more complex. It, in air quotes, autocompletes the entire response to your prompt or your question. And it does this based on the data set that it was trained on, which for GPT 3.5, which is the generally available version right now, is the entire internet up to about September 2021. And more recent versions like version 4 bring it kind of up to speed, make it more current. So they built this GPT engine. And then on top of GPT, they built a chatbot technology called ChatGPT, which allows you to ask the GPT prediction engine questions in natural language, meaning in plain English, you just ask it questions. You don't have to learn any special computer commands or anything like that. And it's different from a lot of other chatbots in that it remembers previous parts of the conversation. So you can ask a question, get an answer, and then ask another question, which it understands references what you already asked, what you're already talking about. So that's basically the technology we're talking about. Now, ChatGPT launched to the public on November 30th, 2022, so not very long ago. And here's the thing, it didn't always even work because they were not prepared for the amount of interest that the world was going to show them. And so often when people would say, I wonder what's this ChatGPT thing, they would try to go to the website to open it up and the website wouldn't load because too many people were trying to access it and they didn't have the computer resources. But in spite of the fact that it wasn't even reliably working all the time, they grew from 0 to 100 million monthly active users in just 2 months. This is faster adoption than any other technology in history. Now, why is it growing so fast? What are people so excited about? Including me, by the way. And I'm not a person who usually jumps on fads. I've never been on TikTok. I've never been on Instagram. I've never been on Clubhouse. I usually watch these things come and then sometimes I watch them go. But this is different. And I will tell you exactly why in a few minutes. But before we dive into that, there is something very important that we need to cover first. And that is mindset for success, the mindset you need to succeed with this. And when I bring up the topic of mindset, there are two reactions that I tend to see a lot of. I'm seeing them, both reactions right now on camera from you guys. The first is a kind of eye rolling, oh God, more mindset stuff, really? Shoot me now. Why do we need to do this? And then the other reaction is this dramatically over enthusiastic, yes, mindset, this is the best, this is my favorite stuff. And both of these reactions assume the idea that mindset is, or at least that I believe it to be, some sort of magical thing that unlocks all of your deepest potential and melts the obstacles in your way so that whatever you weren't capable of before, now you can. And not only that, it will be fun and it'll be easy too. And to make that happen, you have to fill your mind with positive energy and positivity and tools like affirmations and mantras and self-talk and all that stuff. But that's not what I think mindset is fundamentally about. Not that there's anything wrong with those things if they work for you. That's not what I want to talk about right now. For us on this session, in terms of what I'm going to share with you, mindset really comes down to one thing, and that is discipline. And discipline is a concept that I found tends to be misunderstood by a lot of people. A lot of people imagine discipline to be about having the kind of force of will to make yourself do something you don't want to do. But I don't think that's what discipline is at all. In my experience, discipline is about having the presence of mind to choose what you want over what you feel like. I'm going to say that again. Discipline is the presence of mind to choose what you want over what you feel like. This is something that I talk about with my kids all the time. If you ask my kids who are 8 and 6 years old, what is discipline? The first thing they will say is discipline equals freedom because they love the Warrior Kid books. But if you then press them, you say, but what is discipline? They will say choosing what you want instead of what you feel like. Now, I'll tell you a little story. When my daughter was maybe 5 years old, we were on an outing, we were doing something, we're driving home, and she asked me, will I have time to watch videos when we get home? And I told her, I don't know, it's getting late. You have to take a bath, so maybe if you're quick. So we get home, she gets in the bath, and she gets distracted, and she starts playing in the bath, having fun. And she gets out of the bath, she gets dried up, she gets dressed, and then she comes to me and she says, kind of reflective, I don't have time to watch videos, do I? And I say, well, no, it's late, right? You don't have time. And she says, like, not even so much to me as to herself. She says, I let my feel like get in the way of my want. Right? And this is a 5-year-old. If 5-year-olds can get this, we can all get this. So this is about discipline. It's about choosing what we want over what we feel like. And all that mindset stuff that gets in the way, the head trash, the fears, the insecurities, the wondering of who am I to do this, and do I have what it takes, and am I too old to master this technology? Am I just kidding myself? All that stuff and the procrastination and paralysis that it leads to, the solution isn't to make all those insecurities go away, because spoiler alert, they will not go away until after you see results, and they may not even go away then. But what we can do is come back to discipline and ask ourselves, that voice, those insecurities, do they represent what we want or what we feel like, right? It's always what we feel like instead of what we actually want. But the discipline choice is to act on what we want. And we're going to call back to discipline a lot during these 3 sessions and making the discipline choice. So drop the word discipline into the chat if you are on board with that. You're like, I'm game. I will make the discipline choice. I will choose what I want instead of what I feel like in the moment. Awesome. Okay. And speaking of discipline, I want to give you all some direction about using the chat during this training, because we're going to use it a lot. I'm going to ask you to drop specific words to show that you're following and to share ideas during assignments. But what I'll also ask you to do is avoid crosstalk, avoid side conversations, avoid, hey, I'm having trouble with the audio, or does anyone know something about this? Because there are a lot of people on this call. There are like 1,000 people on this call, and it will become very distracting very fast. And when you're at home in front of your computer, it's easy to forget that anytime you send a message, you're broadcasting it to 1,000 people. So let's all be disciplined about creating a learning environment that we all want. If that feels fair, put the word deal into the chat. Yes, I will use the chat as directed to get the most out of this training and make sure others do as well. Awesome. Okay, so we're talking about discipline, having the presence of mind to choose what you want instead of what you feel like. And this is really important because consistently making that disciplined choice is what creates momentum. The momentum to keep you going and the momentum to get results with this very timely and time-sensitive opportunity. And it also makes it easier to keep making the disciplined choice, to take the steps that you have to take out of your comfort zone. And let's be honest, a lot of the subject matter of AI and technology and how fast things are changing, it's uncomfortable. It brings up a lot of our gremlins around our technical skills or lack thereof, and whether we're going to be able to stay current or we're going to be left behind. And if we don't want that to happen, it is critical that we stay outside of our comfort zone. And that all starts with a commitment to stepping out of your comfort zone, commitment to experimenting with technologies that you might not feel comfortable with yet, and commitment to doing what it takes to stay ahead of this wave before it crashes into you. Fundamentally, we are talking about a commitment to a course of action that will lead to outcomes that matter to you. Someone is asking if we can minimize the window so they can multitask. I'll say 2 things. First of all, why are you multitasking? But second of all, this is exactly the kind of thing you don't want to broadcast to 1,000 people. So with that as an object lesson, we're talking about commitment. And what that means is that you have to make a decision. Either this is a path that you are pursuing or it isn't. Otherwise, it is too easy to be in that middle ground of investigating and considering and getting ready and dipping toes in the water. And this is all moving so quickly that if you do that, you might as well not try at all. There are really only 2 options. You either do this or you don't. You adopt these technologies, you pursue these opportunities, or you don't. And that's why over the course of these 3 days, I'm going to give you a few opportunities to take an off-ramp and decide that this path is not for you. And if that's the conclusion that you arrive at, it's totally fine. But at each juncture, if you don't take the off-ramp, I'm going to ask you for another commitment. So this is the first one. And the commitment that I'm asking for right now is that just for the next hour and a bit, you be completely focused on what I have to share with you, no multitasking, so you can really understand the opportunity that's in front of you. So if you're willing to do that, drop the word focus into the chat. You're like, yeah, okay, for an hour and change, I will be completely focused. I'll be completely present, no distractions. And anyone who's not willing to do that, go do something else. That's okay. We're at capacity in this room. So if you don't particularly want to be here, drop off and make room for someone who does. Awesome. But I love seeing so many people so willing to be focused and committed. So here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to give you 3 minutes in our first exercise to do whatever you need to make yourself completely present. Use the restroom, refresh your drink, close your other tabs, put your phone on silent, turn off your messaging apps, tell the people around you that you aren't to be disturbed, close your door, take at least one action, and drop into the chat, what exact thing did you do? What action did you take to protect your focus? And then when we come back, we're going to go straight into a demo of exactly how AI can help you with course creation. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this. Let's start that now. All right, great job, fantastic work. Everyone who took an action to protect your focus. And I know that, I want to say this, I want to say, first of all, well done to everyone who took an action. And I know that it seems silly, but in these few minutes, everyone who took an actual action to protect your focus, to send a signal to yourself that this is important, you have dramatically increased your chances of getting results from this bootcamp. So with that, let's talk about ChatGPT and why people are so excited about this technology. And you can't really get it without seeing it firsthand. So I'm going to do a quick live demo. And I'm going to do this demo with, I have the paid version, it's $20 a month, but I'm going to use the free version. So what I'm doing, anyone can do. And let's make this relevant to at least one of you. Drop into the chat. Tell me, what is your area of expertise? When you are building courses, when you're working with people, in what field are you doing that? And I'm going to pull up my ChatGPT window right here. So I've got this here, I'll refresh it so it's ready to go. And wow, that is a lot of people who drop things into the chat. All right, I saw someone write hypnosis, hypnotherapy. Okay, so let's go with that. So let's talk to ChatGPT. I am an expert on hypnotherapy. What are 4 topics, 4 courses that someone like me could sell? Let's see what ChatGPT says. All right, here we go. Wow, that is fast. So I could do introduction to hypnotherapy, advanced hypnotherapy techniques, self-hypnosis and personal transformation, and hypnotherapy for stress reduction, relaxation. Let's go with that one. That seems kind of a more focused, promised outcome. So, all right, let's go with this one. What are 6 different titles that I could give to that course? Because, of course, we've got to make it snappy and compelling. So we've got Mastering Stress, The Art of Inner Peace, Transforming Tension from Stress to Serene. I like this one, From Stressed to Serene. Let's go with that. All right, let's go with From Stressed to Serene. Please outline for me a 4-week curriculum for this course. So here we go. Week 1, Understanding Stress and Hypnotherapy. Week 2, Foundations of Hypnotherapy for Stress Reduction. Of course, says what we do in here: induction techniques for relaxation, guided imagery, progressive muscle relaxation, etc. Week 3 is Targeted Approaches for Stress Reduction. Week 4 is Empowering Self-Care and Continued Growth. Great. Can you write a script for lesson 1? So here we go. Lesson 1, Understanding Stress and Hypnotherapy. The instructor says, welcome everyone to the first lesson. We've got our introduction, then we go on to the role of hypnotherapy, exploring the benefits. All right, we've got a great lesson 1 for our course. Okay, we can outline the rest later, but I also have to sell it. Can you write a short sales page for the course? So let's have a sales page for the course. So we have, all right, awesome. Sales page, From Stress to Serene, Unleashing the Power of Hypnotherapy. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed by stress? Do you long for inner peace and serenity in your life? It is time to take control of your well-being, etc. Introducing the course. Here's what you'll learn. Why choose this course, etc. Enroll now button. Okay, great. Let's beef this up with 6 fascination bullets that spark curiosity around specific things that they'll get. So, okay, you will uncover the hidden causes of stress, tap into the power of your subconscious mind, experience profound relaxation and tranquility, transform stress into opportunity, create your personalized stress reduction plan, and embrace a lifetime of serenity. Wonderful, great. I also want a short sales video at the top of the page. Can you write me a script? Certainly. So we've got the directorial comments as well. Opening scene, enthusiastic background music plays as the instructor appears on screen, welcoming the viewers with a warm smile. Instructor, are you tired of feeling overwhelmed by stress? Awesome. We've got visual transitions. We've got it talking through the benefits up until the call to action with the closing scene. Okay, so I could go on and on, but I think you get the idea. And this is the part where, just from the standpoint of look how cool this technology is, I can just drop the mic. And this is the part where, if you're seeing a demo like this for the first time, you probably have a feeling through your whole body that this changes everything. That is how I felt the first time I got a sense of what the technology could do. My mind was racing with ideas about how much time AI could save me with finding the right course topic, coming up with outlines and content ideas, brainstorming exercises, drafting marketing materials, finding where to reach target clients. And that is just scratching the surface of what AI can do. And that also raises some scarier questions like, what happens when all my competitors have this technology too? What if they learn to use it before I do? What if the market gets flooded with information that I thought I was the only one who could provide, but now it looks like it's all inside the AI? Now, there is a lot to unpack here, but the first impression is very clear. Things just got very real, and there is no way around the fact that these technologies change everything. If that's how you feel, drop the word change into the chat. You're like, yeah, this is, I don't understand all the changes yet, but this changes everything. There is no way around that. Okay, so you guys get it. Change, yikes. Whoever wrote that in the chat has it exactly right. So now let's dig into it. What exactly is going to change and how? And the answer is different than you probably might think, and different from what a lot of the hype out there is suggesting. And to understand where this admittedly incredible technology is going to take us, we have to start by understanding its limitations. And to understand its limitations, we have to start by reminding ourselves of what it actually is. Basically, a really fancy autocomplete. It predicts the statistically most likely next word and next word and next word based on the data that it was trained on. And this creates two big issues. First, the garbage in, garbage out problem. These technologies aren't trained on the best information on your topic. They're trained on all the available information on the internet. For GPT 3.5, it's the internet up to 2021, and newer versions will be more current. But the training data isn't curated. It's all the internet, and there's a lot of garbage on the internet. Drop the word garbage into the chat if when it comes to your field of expertise, there's a lot of garbage and bad advice online. And I feel the same way. It's the same way in my industry as well. There's some good information. There's also a lot of bad information. That's the first issue, garbage in, garbage out. And the second issue is that we're not talking about any kind of sentience or discernment. It doesn't understand your questions or the answers that it's giving you, which means that it will be wrong a decent portion of the time, but it will be confidently wrong. It will have no awareness of the fact that what it's doing is essentially the high-tech equivalent of bullshitting on a test, because it has no awareness of anything at all. So that's the second issue. Even though it's garbage in, garbage out, it won't have any awareness of whether it is right or wrong. And understanding these limitations points us towards a right way and a wrong way to use the technology when it comes to online courses and online business. And the best analogy I've heard for this is that AI for a knowledge worker is like electricity and power tools for a carpenter. The carpenter knows how to do it all without the power tools, but they can do it better and faster with the new technology. And they'd also better be a lot more careful because the potential for damage and injury is that much higher. Now, with these power tools in your business, you can do a lot more of what you're already capable of doing, and you'll be able to do it a lot faster. Coming up with topics and angles for your course, gather and synthesize public market insights, analyze market research data that you've assembled, draft marketing assets like sales pages and videos and emails, enhance your offer with time-saving AI shortcuts, iterate learning materials to improve student experience, draft and develop assignments and worksheets, and extract and deploy customer feedback and testimonials. In a nutshell, you'll be able to create better courses a lot faster and shorten the gap between you and the marketing of those courses. And because of how powerful these tools are and how fast they're being adopted, you really can't bury your head in the sand and just pretend this isn't happening. It is happening, whether we like it or not. There is a truism in business that if the rate of change outside your business is faster than the rate of change inside your business, then pretty soon you're going to be out of business. Imagine being the only carpenter who doesn't start using power tools. You're going to be out of a job, out of work, and fast. And the same is true if you're the only course builder who isn't leveraging these tools. Your courses will take dramatically longer to deploy, and they won't be nearly as good as your competitors. And when it comes to the marketing, they're going to lap you there too. Now, here's the good news, and I really want you to hear me when I say this. You can do this. There are some things in life that are hard no matter what, right? Quantum physics is hard. It doesn't matter how smart you are or how long you spend doing it, it's still hard. But most things in life are only hard until you learn how to do them, and then they become easy. And this is one of those things. And here's the thing, I'm willing to bet that everyone on this call has gone through periods of change and innovation before, professionally and personally. And I want to invite you now, I'm going to give you a few minutes. I want to invite you to reflect either for yourself privately, if you want to keep it private, or if you're willing to be a little brave, share in the chat. Reflect on one time or multiple times in the past when you have had to learn and adapt, and you succeeded precisely because you did. I'm going to give you a few minutes now to reflect, and if you're feeling brave, to share. right, awesome. I want to thank and acknowledge everyone who had the courage to share about their experiences, some of which I'm seeing in the chat were very, very powerful, very poignant experiences. And the reason I ask you all to share this is that I want you to anchor to the fact that this is not the first time you have to figure out something new or adapt to change. So you can do this. And you can do this especially because of the natural language chatbot component of the technology, which means that you don't have to learn weird commands or interfaces. You just give it instructions in plain English, and it, in air quotes, it understands. So you get to kind of do programming in prose, which makes this one of the easiest technologies ever for you to learn how to use. But it is important that you use it the right way. And another useful frame for thinking about this is to see ChatGPT for all of us as being like having an infinitely hardworking and only reasonably competent assistant, one who works super fast, never gets tired, and is never offended if you say the work isn't good and they have to do it again. So the question is, how would you use an assistant like that? And I'm asking you for real, drop into the chat if a colleague came to you and said, I've got this assistant, they're infinitely hardworking, only reasonably competent. How should I work with this person? What advice would you give them? I'll take a sip of my drink while you guys are finding your keyboards. Precise instructions and follow-up, research, and ask for revisions so they get dialed in to be very clear. Okay, you guys are bang on. There are two principles that you would keep in mind in working with an assistant like that. First, you would give them hyper-specific instructions. Be very clear about what you want. So what does that look like when you're working with an AI? Well, when it comes to specific instructions, there's actually a term for that. It is called prompt engineering. And if you've been paying attention to the world of AI and ChatGPT at all, then you've already been hearing this term a lot. And you're going to be hearing about it even more. So let's start by defining what we're talking about. A prompt is the question or request that you pose to ChatGPT. So if you were to say, I'm an expert on fill in the blank, what are 4 topics for courses that someone like me could sell? That is a prompt. If you say, let's go with the third option, what are 6 different titles that I could give that course? That is a prompt. If you say, please outline for me a 4-week curriculum for this course, that is a prompt. These are all examples of prompts. You saw other examples in the demo at the beginning of the session, and I will give you more examples over the course of this bootcamp this week. Now, we've already talked about the garbage in, garbage out problem as it applies to the data that the GPT engine is trained on. But garbage in, garbage out also applies to your prompts. If you ask garbage questions, you will get garbage answers. And it's even more important with AI than it would be with an assistant, because a smart assistant might infer what you're actually looking for from an unclear question, or they might ask clarifying questions to help them do the job. But ChatGPT won't do either of those things. It will just answer exactly the question that you asked. And that is why prompt engineering is already turning into one of the most valuable skills as it relates to working with AI. And there are entire marketplaces where you can pay to buy individual prompts for specific tasks. And I'll be teaching you more about effective prompt engineering on Wednesday and on Friday sessions of this bootcamp. So make sure they're marked on your calendar. But for right now, let's go back to our infinitely hardworking and only reasonably competent assistant. You would give them hyper-specific instructions, and you would also always check their work. In other words, you would never ask them to do something if you can't assess the quality of what they produce, which means you might ask them to research or draft or summarize or synthesize in areas where you have the expertise to know what they got right and what they didn't. But you would never ask someone like that to discern or decide or finalize or represent or advise, because they don't know enough about your subject area to make those judgments. And that's where you can get yourself into trouble. So going back to the live demo we did earlier about that hypnotherapy course, that was impressive, right? It spat out like, the better part of the whole course in a matter of minutes. And it sounded good. But let's be real for a second. There are probably only a few people on this call who actually have the expertise to assess whether what it did was good. For most of us, we just know that the responses were all syntactically correct. They're structured in the way you would expect the answer to be structured. They talk about the sorts of things that we would associate with hypnotherapy. We don't actually know if it's good. So here's another example of a syntactically correct answer. Just for fun, I asked ChatGPT to write a bio of myself, Danny Iny. So here is what it returned. So Danny Iny is an entrepreneur, author, and speaker who is a leading voice in the world of online education and marketing. He was born in Israel in 1980 and grew up in Montreal, Canada. Iny started his career in technology as a software developer and consultant, working with clients such as Microsoft, Google, and IBM. He later turned his attention to online education and founded his company Mirasee in 2011. In addition to running Mirasee, Iny is a popular speaker who has delivered keynote speeches at conferences around the world. Iny is also a dedicated philanthropist and serves on the boards of several nonprofit organizations. He currently lives in Montreal with his wife and 3 children. Now, this all sounds pretty good, right? It's structured the way you would expect the bio to be structured. It says about me the sorts of things you would expect to be true of someone who is presenting a training like this. But remember, ChatGPT doesn't search and retrieve information, and it doesn't understand the question or the answer. It just auto-completes based on what, statistically speaking, the right answer should sound like, which means there are probably going to be mistakes, like there are here. So I've highlighted in orange everything that is not correct. I was neither born in Israel, nor was I born in 1980. I did not start my career in technology as a software developer and consultant. I never worked with Microsoft or IBM. I do not travel to speak at conferences. I give to charities, but I don't think that makes me a dedicated philanthropist. I do not serve on the boards of any nonprofits, and I have 2 children, not 3. Now, here's the really dangerous thing. Unless you know me and my history intimately, you wouldn't catch all these mistakes. And this is exactly why you should not use ChatGPT or other AI technologies to do anything where you don't have the expertise to assess whether it's good or not. I could use this to save me a lot of time writing a bio, right? I get the bio, I just correct the things that are not correct. But if I asked this to write a bio of a colleague, I would get myself into trouble. Now, as I hope you can see, AI can be incredibly powerful as a tool for your business. It can save you enormous amounts of time. It can dramatically increase your productivity, which means you will be able to produce more and better courses. You'll have a faster time to market. You'll have better marketing materials. You'll get more leads and sales. You'll drive more impact and results and have more freedom and a better lifestyle. And all you have to do is follow these 2 simple rules. 1, give it hyper-specific instructions through quality prompt engineering. And 2, never ask for things that you're not in a position to assess the quality of the work, which should be easy enough, right? Except that there is more to the story, because there is a giant wrench that gets thrown into the works by a frustrating constant of the human experience, which is that, to quote Gary Vaynerchuk, marketers ruin everything. And there is an inevitable tragedy of the commons that will be at play here. We would all be better off if everybody used the technology the right way, the responsible way, the ethical way, which is to support them in doing things they're already capable of and qualified to do. But we all know that some people are going to go the route of less integrity in hopes of making a quick buck. So let me illustrate what I mean with this hypothetical pitch from the world's most recognized stock photo of a sleazy internet marketer. And it is hypothetical in the sense that I made it up to illustrate a point. But it's not hypothetical in the sense that I've already seen lots of stuff right along these lines. So here we go. This is my pretend sleazy internet marketer pitch. Hey, look, how do you make money? You make money by giving eager buyers what they want. And where are there lots of eager buyers? On Amazon. They're all there browsing with their credit cards. And what are they searching for? They're searching for everything, including information about really obscure topics that they aren't finding good resources about. And you can help them out. Just search the categories on Amazon and find the niches that don't seem to have good books for people to buy. And this is where ChatGPT comes in. You don't have to know anything about the topic because ChatGPT does. You can have it draft an entire short book on the topic in less than an hour. And how will you know the information is good? Well, you don't, but the reader doesn't either. And really, you're helping them out because right now they aren't finding anything at all. So this will be so much better, won't it? Really, you're doing them a huge service, saving them from endless searching. And scene. So that is our hypothetical example, which is so wrong on so many levels. But it's also scary because we all know that there are people just like this caricature operating in every industry. Drop the word scary into the chat if you're like, yeah, I could totally see this happening. Or maybe you have already seen stuff like this coming around and happening in the wild. And yeah, you all get it. This is awfully scary. And the upshot is that over the next year, every information product category is going to be flooded with fairly mediocre AI-generated content. It is the spamification of information. And this has two really important effects. First is a giant erosion of trust, partially because we know that the quality of content coming from a robot isn't the same, partially because of the intentions of someone who takes the shortcut of publishing and putting their name on that content, and partially because there's just something about it that we don't trust. So just like websites wonder if you are a robot, and when you interact with someone on a help chat, you wonder if it's a real person on the other end. When you publish something, people are going to wonder, did ChatGPT write this? And there's an emotional tone of skepticism about the quality of whatever it is. And that applies to articles, to ebooks, and yes, also to many online courses. And because of the trust erosion, and also because of the sheer volume of content, it means that the value and price of information-only courses is about to go down pretty much to zero. And it won't be because of all the great things that you can legitimately do with AI. It will just be because of the few bad actors who are looking to make a quick buck. Like I said, and Gary Vaynerchuk said first, marketers ruin everything, which kind of sucks that the flood of garbage that they create is going to change the market for the rest of us. But there is good news and there is long-term opportunity, not for people who are looking to ride a wave and make a few get-rich-quick bucks, but for people who don't mind doing some work as long as they're building something that actually makes people's lives better, because you know that that's what people will actually pay for. Drop the word care into the chat. If you care about creating something real and meaningful and impactful, and yes, getting paid well for doing it. And I love the explosion of caring I'm seeing in the chat. That is awesome. It is great to see. And for all of you who are doing that, who are typing that in, there is a lot of opportunity that comes with the post-AI world. And to find that opportunity, we're going to shift our focus for just a moment away from shiny new technologies to the things that will never change. And this is actually a really important strategy lesson from Amazon and Jeff Bezos. There's this great interview that was conducted with Bezos years ago. And the journalist asked him something to the effect of, what is the hot new trend or the thing that's going to change that you've got your eye on? And Bezos gave a really thoughtful answer. He says, I don't spend most of my time thinking about what's going to change. I spend most of my time thinking about what's going to stay the same. And the journalist presses him. He's like, what do you mean? So Bezos explains, well, 10 years from now, I can't imagine anyone ever calling me up and saying, Jeff, I love Amazon. I love it. But I wish the prices were higher, right? That's never going to happen. People are always going to want lower prices. There's no way that 10 years from now, someone calls me up and says, Jeff, I love Amazon. I wish it took longer for things to arrive at my house. People will always want faster delivery, and people will always want more selection, right? Lower prices, faster delivery, more selection. These are the things people will always want. And Amazon is successful because they spend most of their energy focusing on those things that will never change. And we all have to do the same. So our question is, what is always going to be true that is relevant for our industry? Well, what is always going to be true is that people are always going to want shortcuts to achieving whatever outcome they care about. Not in a bad way, just in the legitimate way that if you know how to do things, you can make them happen in less time, at less cost, and with less risk of failure. Drop the word shortcut into the chat if your market wants an outcome that your expertise can get them to in less time, at less cost, and with less risk of failure than if they try to do it on their own. Drop the word shortcut into the chat if that shortcut is valuable enough to them that they would be willing and even eager to pay for it. Awesome. So I'm going to give you a few minutes now, and I want you to think about and share in the chat, what is the outcome that is valuable enough to your market that they would be willing and even eager to pay for your expertise to help get them there in less time, at less cost, and with less risk of failure than if they try to do it on their own. right, fantastic. Thank you everyone for thinking through this and for sharing. And I hope you can all see about your markets and about the world as a whole. There is a lot of opportunity for real impact to be created because there are a lot of places where people care about getting those shortcuts. And that is something that will always be true. People will always want shortcuts. And delivering those shortcuts requires two things. First, legitimate expertise. Being an expert doesn't just mean you know a bunch about a topic the way ChatGPT seems to. It means you have knowledge, yes, and also discernment and insight. There's an old saying among internet marketers that if you read 5 books about a topic, you know more about that topic than anyone but a real expert. And that makes you a de facto expert. And in my experience, a lot of real experts, the sort that have spent years and decades developing knowledge and judgment and discernment and insight into their area of expertise, they tend to find this statement offensive. Drop the word offensive into the chat if you're like, that's insane. Reading 5 books does not make you anything near an expert. Never mind that reading and understanding 5 books are two very different things. And the reason it is offensive is that being an expert doesn't just mean you know good answers to questions. It means you know the best answer. The mark of a real expert is the ability to say, everyone else thinks X, but really it's Y. An expert knows where everyone else is wrong. And AI can't do that. It doesn't have insight or a point of view because it doesn't understand anything. It doesn't understand. ChatGPT is the epitome of reading 5 books on a topic and thinking you're an expert. But regurgitating the most statistically likely answer is not the same as having the discernment and insight to give the best answer, especially given that there is no guarantee that the information the AI was trained on was right in the first place. So I'm going to give you a few minutes now, and I want you to think about and share in the chat, what is an area where you have legitimate expertise enough to be able to say, everyone else seems to think X, but I know that it's really Y. I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about that and share in the chat. Right, awesome. Thank you all for sharing. And it's wonderful seeing just the range and breadth of expertise that you all have to codify inside of a course. But that's the first thing you need, legitimate expertise, in order to be able to provide people with a shortcut. Now, the second thing that you need is that the journey has got to be long and expensive and perilous, right? You can't provide people a shortcut to a simple journey. We don't need a shortcut to getting across the street. We just do it, right? It has to be that they're trying to do something that is challenging. And if it's challenging, then it means that they need a lot more than a simple procedure or explanation. They need you to help them actually get good enough at whatever you are teaching for them to get the outcome they're after. And we don't get good at things just by reading text or watching video, whether it was produced by humans or by AI, because the learning doesn't happen in the technology. It happens in the brain that is behind the eyes of the person who is looking at the screen. And that person is just as interested in saving time as you are. So if you just use AI to shortcut the process, so will they. As Tom Fishburne articulated in this hilarious webcomic. On the left, you've got a guy who says, look, AI turns this single bullet point into a long email I can pretend I wrote. And on the right, she says, look, AI makes a single bullet point out of this long email, so I can pretend I read it. So it just doesn't work. It cancels itself out. So we have to shift our thinking away from some notion of what is the least I can do to throw something together that I can set and forget because people will then be tricked into paying for it, and focus on what will actually deliver and profitably deliver transformation that is meaningful to your students. And the way that we get good at things is through an actual learning journey, which has to include 3 key steps. First, insightful explanations for them to consume through audio or video or text or whatever, that then lead to opportunities for them to apply what they've learned through theoretical exercises or practical work, and then to get feedback on what they're doing right and how they need to improve. And the traditional conception of an online course, which is just a bunch of videos that the creator sets and forgets inside of a membership site, just isn't capable of providing this sort of transformative learning experience. To do that, you need to mix and match all the tools in the course creator's toolbox, from live instruction to pre-recorded audio and video, to bits of micro-learning, to gamification, to cohorts, to coaching, to community, and yes, also AI and ChatGPT to accelerate the entire process. And there's a name for the sort of course that includes all of these different elements. It is called the hybrid course. And it has the double advantage that it can deliver a transformation that is actually worth paying for. And because of all the pieces that go into it, customers can see that it is obviously different than the sort of courses that ChatGPT can easily spit out, which protects you from the erosion of trust that the rest of the industry is experiencing. And my students are seeing this firsthand, that the demand and pricing power of their hybrid courses is holding steady and even growing. And the trick is to pretend that you've got a slider for each of these tools, so you can ramp up the pre-recorded audio video, ramp down the cohorts, ramp up the community, or whatever, to find the configuration that gets the best results for your students and for your business. And that is what unlocks the possibility to multiply the value that you're delivering, and by extension, the business results that you're seeing, while also scaling back the amount of effort that it takes for you. It's not about passive income, that's a pipe dream, but it is about creating really powerful leverage so that you can create a lot of transformation and justify real premium prices without taking a huge amount of your effort or time. And this is especially the case if you use AI the right way across all the steps. To come up with topics and angles for your course, to gather and synthesize public market insights, to analyze market research data that you've assembled, to draft marketing assets like sales pages and videos and emails, to enhance your offer with time-saving AI shortcuts, to iterate learning materials to improve student experience, to draft and develop assignments and worksheets, and to extract and deploy customer feedback and testimonials. If you do it right, you'll be able to create better courses faster, reach more people, and grow your impact and income in the process. Now, we're going to talk a lot about all the different dimensions of hybrid course businesses, from the design of hybrid courses to how to market them, to how to scale those courses over the course of this entire bootcamp. But in order for you to do all that, you need to make a decision. Are you going to seize this opportunity and get ahead of it? Or are you going to dip your toe in the proverbial water while your competitors ride the wave? I have an opportunity about which is the right answer, but you are the only one who can decide. And that is why I promised you off-ramps. So here's the next one. Either you want to proceed with this opportunity or you don't. But if you do, put the word seize into the chat. You're like, this is what I need to do. This is the next step for my business. Put the word seize into the chat. Or sure, carpe diem. That works as well. Okay, well, to everyone who does not want to say seize, that's totally fine. I will encourage you to sign off now, and you don't need to join us back for the next 2 sessions. Totally fine. But if you do believe that you want to move ahead, you want to seize this opportunity, then there are 3 things that I will invite you to do. First, make sure that your calendar is marked for our Wednesday session at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. Eastern. And remember, we are not releasing the recordings, right? You've got to be there live. And you don't want to miss it because there's a lot of great stuff that we're going to cover. We're going to go over how to use AI to engineer transformation that your audience will pay for. I will share with you my proprietary hybrid design canvas for hyper-effective and profitable courses. We'll talk about the 6 dimensions of course design and how AI fits into each of them. We'll go over prompt engineering in more depth, the art and science of getting AI to do great work for you, and how to integrate AI with coaching in your courses to create impact and leverage. And I'm also going to tell you about a student of mine named Ian Roberts, who teaches people how to paint and draw. And I will share with you the exact strategy that Ian used to increase his revenues by 445% while significantly reducing his personal time and effort. And we're going to do that right at the top of the hour, so make sure you don't join us late. At Miracy, things start on time, and you don't want to miss out. So that's the first thing. Make sure you've marked your calendar to be on our next session on Wednesday. The second thing you should do is get the slides of this session. We're not releasing recordings, but if you want the slides, you can get them. Put the word slides into the chat if you're like, that would be great. I've been taking notes, but I would love to have the slides. All right, well, the way to get the slides is to submit a little homework assignment. You're going to answer the question, what are you a legitimate expert on? An expert in the sense of everyone thinks X, but I know that really it's Y. What are you a legitimate expert on? Tell us what the topic is and what the X and Y are, and send your answer to support@miracy.com with the subject line AI Courses Day 1 Homework. And my team will reply with the slides. That's the second thing to do. And the third thing is just for people who know that they absolutely must seize this opportunity. You'll remember that I promised that something really big is coming, a really big announcement that I'm going to share with you towards the end of this session. Well, now is that time. And this is only for the people who are sure that this is an opportunity that you must seize. For those people, I have 2 more things to share with you, an invitation and an announcement. So let's start with the invitation. You probably know that we've helped a lot of people to build their online course businesses over the years, including people like Mark Morley Fletcher, who is a jazz guitarist, who's been performing for more than 30 years. He teaches the psychology of performance to amateur musicians. And amateur musicians don't usually spend a ton of their significant amount of money. They just don't want to do it. There's a ton of free material out there on YouTube and super cheap courses on Udemy and elsewhere. But taking a hybrid approach, he was able to charge many hundreds of dollars for his program, and it's been hugely successful. He's generated well over $500,000 in sales over the last several years. This is Susan O'Connor. She is an expert in writing for video games, which is a pretty tight niche. And Susan O'Connor started from zero in this industry. She launched her first pilot in 2020. In 2021, she approached 6 figures in her course revenue. Now she's well past 6 figures in annual revenue from her courses. This is Molly Mahoney. She teaches entrepreneurs to show up and go live. When she came to me, she was trying to sell her first course for $50. Now she charges $5,000 for it, and that powers a 7-figure business. So we help all these people to build their course businesses, and we do it through one big enrollment per year into our flagship course building program. And we are gearing up to enroll our class of 2023. And this is a really big year for us. Because of the advent of AI, we've rebuilt our entire program to create the AI edition of our hybrid course university. It is a brand new program that we're launching for the very first time to help people capitalize on this new world of opportunity with hybrid courses and artificial intelligence. And it's actually the most robust curriculum we've ever run. It consists of 3 full-length courses. Hybrid course launch, which is about going from zero to launching your first hybrid course, making money from it. Hybrid course audience, which is about building the audience that will come back to buy from you again and again. And hybrid course scale, which is about growing your reach, your influence, and the number of people who can go through your course. So you get these full 3 courses, and each of them is a full-scale top-flight training. You progress through these courses with the community, or you go at your own pace, and you get one-on-one support from your personal course building and marketing coach. Now, let's talk about the support that you'll get through the program, because there is a lot of it. There is group support. You get weekly training calls, weekly office hours, and a community Slack channel. You also get one-on-one support through email and Slack, and also through reviewing your homework, and also through milestone calls at key intervals in the program. So you get all that support. And what you also get is a massive library of ChatGPT prompts to help you with every area of building your hybrid course business. From niche selection to market research, to outreach messaging, to program outlining, to lesson planning, to drafting content, to planning homework, to templating support, to sales copy planning. We have over 300 prompts in there, all carefully designed to save you a ton of time and energy. Really, thanks to the integration of AI, it has literally never been easier to follow the steps that we teach and finally build the hybrid course business that will create leverage, freedom, and impact that you're looking for. And we've really put everything that you need into this program to help you create real financial leverage in your business, so you can spend less of your time earning more money in a way that actually leads to freedom in your business and life. And with that freedom and leverage, the ability to create a lot of impact in your immediate circle of the world, and maybe in the world as a whole. And this program is designed to work for you, even if you don't have a website or an email list, even if you've never built a course before, even if you suck at technology, or you aren't sure about the idea for your course, or you have too many ideas for your course, or you aren't sure where to get started. Now, you're probably thinking, Danny, that sounds like a great program. What does it cost? And that brings us to the really, really big announcement. I'm a little nervous. I'm excited. Now, if we were to just parcel out the individual pieces, hybrid course launch is a $2,000 program. Hybrid course audience is a $2,000 program. Hybrid course scale is a $2,000 program. This is what these courses retail for all year round. Plus, you've got the AI prompts library, which you can't get anywhere else. We don't sell it separately, so I can't put a price on it. But just these programs, it's a $6,000 value. But just for our launch this week, we're doing something very special that we've only done once before, and we may never do it again. Instead of this whole $6,000 bundle, we're offering the entire hybrid course university on a pay-what-you-can basis. You'll just put down a $500 activation fee now, so that I know you're actually committed, and then you will make the decision about what you can pay for this program after you've already begun to experience it. So it's a $500 activation fee, and then you choose the rest. Now, you probably have a lot of questions. How does that work? What's the catch? Aren't you afraid that people will take advantage of you or won't pay? My team had the same questions when I first had the idea to try this. So let me tell you what I told them. Starting with, there's no catch. I want to be very clear about that. You can choose whatever amount is right for you. You just put down the $500 activation fee, then you get started with full access to the program, the lessons, the exercises, the coaching, and all the rest. Then after 2 weeks in the program, you will be asked what you choose to pay, divided into 6 monthly installments. And the only minimum is that you have to choose at least $10 for each of those 6 monthly payments, because any less than that starts triggering fraud warnings from the credit card companies. So you'll make the decision about what you can pay, and that'll be it. Nothing further will be owed, and regardless of what you choose, you'll still get full access to the entire program. And we're doing it this way because there are 2 things that I believe to be true. First, that sometimes we need something, desperately in some cases, that we're just not in a position to be able to afford. I've certainly had that experience, and I probably wouldn't be where I am if not for the generosity and grace of people who really didn't have to extend a helping hand in the way that they did. And I don't think I'm unique in this regard. It's actually very common in the entrepreneurial world. At different points in our careers, many of us find ourselves stuck in these catch-22 cycles of needing help in order to grow, but not being able to afford that help until after we grow. I want to break that cycle and make it as accessible as I can for everyone who has a gift to teach that gift to others, both for their own benefit and for the benefit of everyone that they serve. We need this, and the world needs this. That's the first thing that I believe to be true. The second thing that I believe to be true is that I truly believe that the vast majority of people are honest, decent, and are driven to do the right thing. So while I fully expect that some people will pay the least that is possible because that's all they can afford, and I'm 100% okay with that, I also trust that people who can pay more will pay more, commensurate with their means and the value that we offer. And that's why I'm not hedging my bets with this offer even a little. Some people advised me that I should only do pay what you can for the training, but take out the coaching. But I'm not going to do any of that. Regardless of what you decide that you can pay, you will get the entire program of 3 programs, really, Launch, Audience, and Scale, as well as the one-on-one coaching with your coach for 7 months. And that's why we are able to guarantee some really impressive results. If you put in the time, you do the work, you reach out to your coach when you need help, then I guarantee that you will earn at least $6,000 from your hybrid online courses by the time the program is done. And if you don't, I will refund your $500 activation fee and whatever amount you decided that you can pay. Let me repeat that. If you don't make $6,000 by the end of the program, I will refund your $500 activation fee and whatever amount you decided that you can pay. And if you're doing some quick math in your head and thinking, Danny, that means that I could pay as little as $560 and you'll still guarantee I'll earn $6,000. Can that be right? And the answer is yes, that is exactly right. This is by far the best offer that I've ever presented, or frankly, that I've ever seen. And I'm very excited about it. But I'm also very aware that it is absolutely a giant experiment. We've done this once before and it went well, but I know there is still a lot that might not work out. So I know that I'm taking a risk here. My sincere belief and hope is that everyone will rise to the occasion and that we will be able to offer a program in this way again in the future. But the truth is that there is a very real possibility that we won't. So now I want to ask all of you a question. Are you excited? Put the word excited into the chat if you are, because I really, really am. And I'm going to look at the chat for a minute. I'm seeing a lot of excitement, which makes me very, very happy. And it gets even better. See, the doors officially open on Monday, May 22nd, and they'll only be open for a few days. But since you're here with me this week, you can jump the line, get in early, and also get a special early bird bonus. And that early bird bonus is about attracting paying students to your online course. Because even though we teach you exactly how to do it, that is still the part that tends to give the people we work with the most concern. How will I market my course? So we're going to do something very special. Now, some of you might be aware that over the last few years, Miracy has acquired a number of other businesses in our industry. So all these companies, the Coaches Console, Rizuku, Story Coach, Connect 365, they're all part of Miracy. And having all these businesses under one roof allows us to create some really cool collaborative projects, including our 2 Sigma newsletter that goes out to over 100,000 people. Well, here's the early bird bonus. When you're ready to launch, we will tell all 100,000 plus of our subscribers about your course. So that's instant exposure. So just to recap, inside the Hybrid Course University AI edition, you get 3 full courses: Hybrid Course Launch, Hybrid Course Audience, and Hybrid Course Scale. You get 7 months of one-on-one coaching. There's a guaranteed minimum of $6,000 of course revenues that you will generate. You get the bonus library of time-saving AI prompts and the bonus promotion to 100,000 plus subscribers of our 2 Sigma newsletter, assuming you join in the early bird window. And you get to decide what you can pay. So please take advantage, jump in, tell your friends, seize this opportunity to get $6,000 of guaranteed results for just $500 plus whatever amount you decide that you can pay, and use it as a catalyst to set your hybrid course business on an entirely new trajectory with the help of AI. The link to jump in and reserve your spot is mrse.co/HCU. And my team is going to drop that link into the chat. Hopefully you all have it right now. Now, I'm sure you guys have questions, and I would love to answer them. But before we do that, I just want to quickly remind you of two things. First, the session on Wednesday. Make sure your calendar is marked for our Wednesday session at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. Eastern. And remember, there's no recording, so you've got to be there live. And second, submit your homework in order to get the slides. Answer the question, what are you a legitimate, everyone thinks X, but really it's Y, expert on? Send your answer to support@mirasee.com with the subject line AI courses, day 1 homework, and my team will reply with the slides. Okay, with that, if you have questions, drop them into the chat. There are a ton of people here, so we're not going to get to all of them, but we will get to as many as we can. So Molly, what do people want to know?
Oh, Danny, I've got lots of questions coming in. Let me start over on the ones I've already saved. So what if somebody's already, first off, how much time, Danny, does it take to, if somebody's already in a coaching program, if they're really busy, how much time do they need to devote to be successful at HCU?
Sure. So it's variable. It'll depend on how fast you work and what your circumstances are. So I can't tell you exactly. But what I will say is that for most people, kind of 5 to 15 hours a week consistently is what it takes. And that is mostly working on your business, of course.
Thank you for that. And what if somebody's new and they don't have a list and they're just starting up?
That is totally, totally fine. So we have built the program to work with you from where you are. So if you're starting from scratch, we will work with you from scratch. We'll take you through all the steps. If you've already kind of done a part of the process, you've done your market research, you've created a course, whatever it is, you're still going to want to go through the steps to make sure you did them right. But you'll be able to go through them very, very quickly.
Thank you for that. And did you say when the early bird offer ends?
The early bird offer ends Sunday at midnight.
Perfect.
You have all of this week.
And can you explain a little more about the one-on-one coaching that's involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So you work with a one-on-one course building coach on my team. They will get to know you and your business. They will be there for you to answer their questions. They'll answer your questions through email. You'll submit your assignments. They'll review them and give you feedback. And you will get on one-on-one calls with them at key milestones in the program.
Thank you for that, Danny. Okay, so somebody asked, could you talk briefly about this? This is more about course development. Is it beneficial to put a disclaimer on your course saying that this was not made by AI?
It could be beneficial, but talk is cheap. It's much more valuable to actually have structures in the program that make it clear that AI couldn't do this, like support, like coaching, like structures that make it a more dynamic and interactive experience.
Thank you for that. Here's a question from Dr. Peggy. Is there specific times for the classes? Do people enroll in HCU? Do they have to be there at certain times during the week?
No, they don't. So the lessons are pre-recorded and you get access to them as you proceed through the program. There are group calls that you can choose to attend or not, but all of the core work in the program is through the lessons that are pre-recorded and your work directly with your coach.
Thank you. Does implementing the course require additional expenses? If so, do you have a reasonable estimate of what that would be?
Yeah, sure. Only kind of the basic expenses you would need with any kind of online and course business. So, your email software, your course software, et cetera. We recommend tools, but you can use whatever you want and whatever you have. We even give you a trial to a really great course platform that we're affiliated with, but you can use whatever you want. All of those tools together would kind of cap out around $100 a month, and you don't even need all of them to start.
Thank you for that. What if somebody has a business partner, Danny? Can they take the course with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important that you do the course together so that you're on the same page. One of you will be the kind of point of contact for the coach. We're not going to be like a marriage counselor between you and your business partner, but you can absolutely go through the course together and go through the materials.
And does access to HCU stop once after the 7 months has gone through?
No, so we support you for 7 months to work through the program, but you retain access to the content in perpetuity.
Thank you for that. And can you remind the audience when the course starts?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I said that. End of the month.
What if my course is geared towards a particular group? Is that okay if I already have an ideal audience?
It absolutely is okay. We're going to take you through the market research and validation. You just have to be open to making sure that it all makes sense, right? Because we can guide you to a course that will be successful for you, but we can't magically make any topic and subject area successful. Usually, if you know there's a market here that is interested in what you're looking to sell, we can help you find the niche in there that will make it successful.
That was a great explanation, Danny. What if somebody doesn't live in North America? Could this program still work for them?
Mm-hmm. We have tons of students all over the world. I would say probably 20, maybe 30% of our students are international, meaning outside of Canada and the US. And they work in all sorts of different countries. They work in different languages. So if you're building a course in another language, serving a different market, that's totally fine. We work with you in English.
And the live trainings for HCU, will those be recorded if somebody can't make it?
Yes, absolutely.
I see Heather's answering some of these. Are the courses that people will design in HCU developed for face-to-face and virtual?
So we teach how to build hybrid courses. So you have full flexibility around how you want to deliver them. Generally, the vast majority of our students are designing courses for delivery online, but you can apply it in whatever context you want, and that works just fine.
Awesome. I see some people asking about Teacher Gift Pro. Those folks, you can shoot us an email at support@mercy.com and we can answer your questions there. It is in US dollars. What happens if someone's not exactly sure what they want to build a course about, Danny?
Yeah, so we can guide you towards finding the right topics and subject areas that will work well for you. I would say a significant minority of our students come in not sure what their course will be about. They're experts in multiple areas. They're multi-passionate. They know they want to create a course. They know they want to kind of leverage their expertise to make an impact for others and create an income for themselves. And we help them connect those dots and find the right opportunity for them.
Thank you for that. And is there an application process for HCU?
No, you just sign up and we work with you to make it happen.
Someone asked if they can pre-submit questions to the Q&A. If you ever drop a question in the chat, I try and save it. It doesn't always mean it'll get to the top of the list, but I do try and save what I can there. How are coaches assigned to students, and what happens if somebody doesn't get along with their coach?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So we review your whatever you submit to us in terms of coming into the program. We assign you a coach on our team who we feel like will be a good fit. And I want to say 98, 99% of the time, the fit is great. The last 1 or 2% of the time, it doesn't work for whatever reason. The chemistry isn't perfect. And when that happens, just let us know. It's not working for me with this coach. Be polite about it, obviously, and we will assign you a new coach. That's totally, totally fine. I do want to clarify something because people sometimes ask, will my coach be familiar with my industry? And sometimes yes, in many cases, yes, but not necessarily. It's not the coach's job to know your industry. It's the coach's job to know the course building process and work with you as you are an expert in your industry.
Thank you for that clarification. Asher says, I don't have a business yet, but I do have expertise. Will HCU help me create a business out of my expertise? Absolutely.
In the sense of creating a product and marketing it so that creates an income stream. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Somebody asked earlier, they were interested in hearing why you choose to say please when giving a prompt to ChatGPT. They say they do the same thing, but they wanted to know your reason why.
There's a very good reason. It's strategically driven. And I'm actually going to speak to that on later sessions of this bootcamp. So stay tuned.
Awesome. And there's a couple questions about how much coaching is involved in HCU. Can you clarify that a bit?
Yeah, so you're going to work very closely with your coach. You're going to submit all of your assignments for review and feedback. You're going to get on one-on-one calls with your coach at key milestones through the program. You're going to interact with them through email and Slack whenever you have questions. And there are office hours calls that you can hop on to ask questions, anytime you want on a weekly basis. So there are a lot of, I won't say that you will necessarily interact with your coach a lot. I will say there are a lot of opportunities for your coach to support you as long as you avail yourself of those opportunities.
That's a perfect explanation. What happens if I have a 2-week vacation planned in the middle of summer, Danny? Can we work around that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's a 7-month course, and we understand that, the people who tend to gravitate towards my work are successful, qualified professionals in their field, right? You've got to be a real expert to build a course. And so that means that life is going to be going on. You're going to have things happening. And so if you've got to step away for a couple of weeks, that's totally, totally fine.
Thank you for that, Danny. Terry was asking if she could invite a friend. You can invite a friend to either HCU or the boot camp, Terry, and we will be making this offer on the other days as well. How long until we already said end of the month that it is coming up. People had someone say they're not 100% comfortable with AI at this point. Is that necessary for them to join HCU, Danny?
Absolutely not. You would not need to sign up for a program to help you learn how to do something if you are already great at it. People sometimes ask, not just in the context of AI, but should I already have a course? Should I already have a website? Should I already have an audience? And it's like, I mean, if you have those things, it'll help, obviously, but you don't need to do in advance the things we are going to help you do. So you definitely have to come in open to getting good and getting comfortable with AI and with all the things we're going to teach you with our help. But you don't have to already have that before you join us.
Jan asks, will HCU also help me make courses that will be taught live rather than just digitally?
Yes, absolutely.
And somebody asked about pricing. We do help with pricing through our curriculum. See what we have here. Oh my goodness. Is there any way to get started working? Do you start working on the course right away? Like when somebody joins HCU?
Yeah.
If somebody is working at their own pace and they have the time, how quickly could they complete HCU, Danny?
I think our record is someone launching a course in 3 weeks of signing up. That's very unusual. Typically, people will launch their course if they're moving quickly within 60 to 90 days.
Okay, can you, again, if you have questions about Teacher Gift Pro, please email us at support@mirasee.com. This is in US dollars. Somebody wants to know if they make a price for their monthly payment and want to start adding more, can they do that?
No. So I love that question. And I love the intention that comes with it, right? You know, as I start doing better, can I add more money? Don't worry about that. Don't feel guilty about putting too little or choosing an amount that, you know, might be perfectly appropriate, should be perfectly appropriate for where you are when you join the course, but may or may not be appropriate later. That's fine. We're good. You're not going to owe me more because you are now successful. You may decide that you want to continue on your journey with me, and I'll be happy to explore that. But the last thing I want is for anyone to commit to paying more than they comfortably can or more than the course is worth to them at the point they are in their business, and recognizing that what you're able to pay will be different at different points in your business.
Thank you for that, Danny. I don't know if I asked this question earlier. My apologies if I did. If I'm already in a coaching program focused on other areas of my business, would you still suggest I enroll in HCU?
I'm presuming you want to build and sell courses and use AI to help you do it well. Yes, absolutely. And presuming you have the time to do both, of course.
Okay. Here's one from John. How important is it that I have a concrete idea for my course? I have an idea I love. I'm just not sure what direction to take it.
It doesn't have to be a concrete idea yet. We will help you concretize that idea.
And is the $500 deposit or application fee, it's an application fee, right? Is it refundable?
It's not an application fee, it's an activation fee.
Activation fee.
And it is refundable if you do the course and you are not successful. It is not refundable in a, I changed my mind, can I back out and get my money back? If you're not sure you want to do this, don't do this.
Thank you, Danny. I think we're just about caught up on questions.
Awesome. Now, I know that there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on this call and on this chat. I'm sure we have missed some of the questions. I'm also sure that, you know, 5 minutes after we wrap up, someone's going to be like, oh, that's a question I should have asked. So if you have any questions, reply to any email you received from us. My team will be happy to help you and to answer your questions as best we can. To everyone who is saying they've already signed up, that's wonderful. We're thrilled to work with you and guide you through this program. Everyone who is thinking about it, you do have until Sunday at midnight, but, you know, now is always better than later. So don't leave to tomorrow what you can do today. Either way, there are 2 more days of training on Wednesday and on Friday. We're going to cover a lot more ground. If you want to get the notes, the slides, I should say, which, you know, slides are notes, submit your homework. You've already got the instructions on how to do that. And that's it. I look forward to working with many of you through the program. I look forward to seeing all of you on Wednesday's session, and I wish you a great couple of days between now and then. Thank you all very much.